Hi, good morning. I'm going to cover what I believe is a bad thing that's being taught to the children of America. There's a couple of facts about Christopher Columbus that we need to know. Number one, he was an Italian, not a Western European. That meant he was a Mediterranean man who teamed up with the Spanish, Queen Isabella and them, to come to the United States. Now he landed in Bermuda, not in the United States. We did not have any white Americans into the United States until 1607, which was 117 years later. The following story is going to go about what happened to Columbus and also the horrors that followed. Thank you. Now, history isn't very good on his early years, but he was born about 1451 in the Italian seaport of Genoa, Genoa. As a teenager, he worked on a merchant ship and took part in several trading journeys in the Mediterranean areas. In 1476, his ship was traveling along the Portuguese coast when it was attacked by the French. The ship sank, but Columbus managed to save himself by swimming to the shore. Because Columbus had spent his entire life just about doing explorations, he was always interested in safer passage to the Orient, where there were lots of spices and things. And so in 1492, 40-ish, which was during that time you were considered an old person, he managed to come up with 3 ships, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, and found financing through Queen Isabella of Spain and Portugal. Now, that's who paid for it. That's who got the flag planted in the Bahamas, and that is the country that started the whole shebang. The Western Europeans were too entwined in the wars and things of their own. There was no English people stepping foot on that land for another 117 years. Now for the following years after Christopher Columbus, the man who was a Middle Eastern financed by the Hispanics, it just started going crazy. The Spanish took over, and they were called conquistadors. They were what they called people that overtook North America without permission. His discovery opened a floodgate of Spanish explorers who were inspired by gold and silver, and there was so much wealth and things. So they went on and on. In 1519, they didn't think that they were worth it because the indigenous people, they made human sacrifices. So they in turn murdered hundreds of thousands of people, high-ranking Mexicans, during a religious festival. This was done by Cortez, who took Montezuma, but they retaliated and he had to back away. Following the defeat, he slowly grew alliances and recruited tens of thousands of native people who resented the Aztec rule. Only with playing the disunity among the diverse groups of the Aztec empires were the Spanish able to capture Tenochtitlán in August of 1521. He claimed the land for Spain, and it became known as Mexico City. So now they've killed thousands and thousands and thousands of native people. The white explorers have not come. This is 92 years before a white man will land on the planet. They brought disease. They brought horses. They brought gunpowder. Just horrible. Then Cortez forced a woman named Malatinzin to marry her so he could make advantages. He used her to translate between the different tribes, and he also used her to make great monetary advances. He made his way to the Spanish Caribbean in 1509. He participated in expeditions in Panama, and then went south to the Incas. His first efforts against the Inca Empire in the 1520s failed, but he captured the Inca emperor in 1532 and executed him soon thereafter. He founded the line of Peru and had to combat not only white native people of their lands he was conquering, but also the competitors from his own country. A Spanish rival, Diego de Almagro. Now it goes on and on with Pizarro conquested the Incas, and from 1539 to 1542, he went on to move to the United States. He and his followers explored modern-day Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas. They brought European diseases, brought the violence of the Europeans, and claimed thousands of native lives. This is 65 years before any white has landed on the United States soil. Now, Francisco de Coronado went to Mexico, then called New Spain, in 1535. He led the Spaniards and native allies on a large expedition to the southern United States. He found the Grand Canyon, Colorado River, and many other natural wonders. They did wage war, but they lost, and he actually went bankrupt. By 1600, Spain had reaped all the money they could possibly do from the New World. They had ravaged it, they had taken over it, and they had so much money that they founded something called capitalism, or in Spanish, Siglodero. Riches poured in from the colonies, and the new ideas poured in from other countries and new lands. There was a Habsburg dynasty which ruled over the territories of Austria, the Netherlands, Naples, Sicily, and Spain. They were financed by a blossoming Spanish culture. Now, it was just a horrible, horrible situation. And unfortunately, I believe that Christopher Columbus did bring bad things to the Americas. And certainly the white Europeans were no angels. But by the time the Western Europeans arrived in the United States, over half of our country was overrun by horrific, savage, non-human people called the conquistadors.